Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And Hatsune Miku never stood a chance.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Okay, Remington, I've got a bit of a fun concept for you this week.
Okay, I do like fun concepts.
Fun in the fact that we live in a world run by algorithms these days, it seems.
All right, it's immediately getting a lot less fun. It's like, oh, hey, let's have a little bit of fun. You know how we live in a slop dystopia? And it's like, oh no. What happened to the fun?
But as you and I know, algorithms are unfair and not, a lot of times, just flat out inaccurate.
Sure.
And I was trying to figure out some things to do for this week, and while browsing Crunchyroll for some seasonals as well as some older stuff that we just haven't covered that's been on my list.
Did they serve you up some whack shit on a platter and you're like, all right, whatever you say, Crunchyroll?
Essentially, because as Crunchyroll has gone on throughout the years, they have decided to try and recommend you anime based on vague categories.
Okay.
And some of them kind of make sense, and there have been goofs in the past where an anime will be this is a lovely dovey romance category, and then Berserk will be there, and those kinds of mistakes will happen less likely these days, but the clear categories are pretty clearly defined. It's okay, yeah, I can see why these are there. However, there are multiple, and I do mean multiple, categories on Crunchyroll that tries to recommend things based on your watch history.
Okay, all right.
And Rem, my watch history on Crunchyroll is fucked.
So what you're telling me is that, well, what it recommended you was the absolute most quintessential Shaun show that we could ever be covering.
Well,
this week's anime is the most Shaun show, even more so than you know, because the algorithms know you better than you do.
I don't know if that's true, Rem, because if that was the case, it would have given me a clear individual anime to talk about. No, it gave me 12.
Oh my god.
Which doesn't seem right to me. Because the category this is anime you'll love. And I'm like, me specifically? Or...
Yeah, you specifically. These are 12 anime that they know for a fact Shaun Rollins will adore.
And my thought process was, well, we should try and figure out if that's true. So I've cherry-picked a couple of them from this list, because having to choose between 12 options would be, quite frankly, stupid. Yes. But thankfully, some of it was easy, because the things that are hey, we think you'll love this, it gave me follow-up seasons to shows I already like and watch, which feels like cheating.
See, so it knows you so well.
Well, I mean, it sees that I've watched shows before. But it also gave me a handful of shows that I have not watched outside of in preparation for this episode. And let me tell you, Rem, it is a spread, to say the least. It is a wild spread. So ultimately, Rem, it's going to be up to you to pick something from this lovely little algorithm that will ultimately decide. And you get to decide whether or not you think it fits me as a person, or if you think that this whole thing is fucked and anime was a mistake.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So, Rem, let me tell you some of the things that we'll not be covering. The first thing on the list it recommended to me was Witch Hat Atelier. Oh, I already watched it. Yeah, of course I'm going to like it. Duh. It also recommended Free Ren.
Yeah.
It recommended ReZero.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so you do just want me to rewatch the stuff I like and
hey, it never
watch.
said these were going to be niche picks you'll love
no.
New picks you'll love. It's just things you'll love.
Another one it offered me was Overlord, a show I notoriously hate.
It thinks you'll have a change of heart.
Look, I don't care how hot Albedo is, it ain't happening.
It thinks if you gave it a couple more episodes, maybe you change your mind.
It's recommending season 4, Rem.
Well, maybe it's season 4 is when it gets real Shaun Rollins.
Don't know about that. As well as just a second season to a show I had never seen, which I found extra funny.
It thinks you'll just like the first season, but you'll love the second.
So I should just jump straight in. So knocking out the ones that we've already covered on the podcast and like revisits and later seasons and such.
Let's hear what we got.
I've got 4 options for you this time around. So a little more than usual, but you know.
All right.
And same rules apply as always. You're allowed to ask questions about them. One question aside from, the obvious stuff.
Yeah.
And I will answer it truthfully and honestly. All right. So the first anime on the list of things that Crunchyroll thinks I'll love is Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody.
Okay, here's my question for this one.
Okay.
Could you send an image of the cover art to Dylan and ask him what he thinks and tell me exactly what he responds, and hopefully he'll respond by the end of the choosing.
Okay. I will do that. Give me 1 second.
Maybe he'll be verbose in his response. Maybe he'll just give little bits and pieces. Maybe he'll just say lol. But we're gonna see.
Done. Okay.
All right. Next one.
I got Dylan's response.
Oh, okay. Well, let's handle that before we move on. All right. So exactly whatever he said. If he gives a lot of information, I get a lot of information. If he didn't, I don't.
Lolly School Harem Isekai.
All right. Well, definitely. All right, that was very helpful, Dylan. Thank you so much. Avoiding that one like the fucking plague. Avoiding that one like the fucking plague. Phew, don't even need to think about that one. Send it into the abyss. Dylan coming in clutch. What a fun, and that easily could have just ended up like him replying with a GIF or something, or not replying at all. And
I thanked him on your behalf, and he said, "I got you, baby."
Hell yeah! All right.
Next one I have for you is Mushoku Tensei: Jobless Reincarnation.
The name is familiar.
It's been recommended a fuck ton.
Yeah. Isekai obviously it's got the word reincarnation in it. I assume, this isn't a part of the question, I assume that it is going to end up being like, oh, I was placed into an isekai, but I'm not a barbarian or a wizard. Like, I don't have a stereotypical class, so that makes me weaker, but actually it secretly makes me super interesting and neat. I'm trying to figure out the best way to ask this without more or less just amounting to, is it dog shit? That would not be a legal question. With Jobless Reincarnation, what is the first other anime that you think of when you think of Jobless Reincarnation? So, it just like the first one you think, if they were like, oh, I really like Jobless Reincarnation, give me a suggestion. First one that pops into your mind, what would you recommend?
Probably ReZero.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. All right, next up.
Like just cold clocking, that's the first thing that popped in my head.
Sure.
So, all right, next up. God. Next up is Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious.
Do I even need to ask a question? I don't have hopes for this one. I have no hopes.
Hey man, this is what Crunchyroll seems to think that are anime that I will love, and I don't. Yep. I came into this being skeptical of this system.
Read the first sentence of the most recent review on Mal.
Most recent review on Mal.
Yeah, because you got to introduce a little bit of randomness, otherwise it feels unfair. So first sentence of the most recent review. The gambling strategy worked with Dylan, so I'm hoping.
Okay. It has numbers and ratings in the first sentence. Do you want those too?
Whatever the review's first sentence is,
okay.
That's what I want.
Okay.
So if their first sentence was just lol, it's just lol.
Yep.
If it's very meaningful, great.
All right. It's a little bit of a run-on, but that's okay because...
I mean, that's great for me. That's... Yep. I was hoping for that.
Yeah, I'll go until the first period. How about that?
Awesome. All right.
Okay. English review, rating 8 out of 10. Title, a refreshing, cautious twist on the isekai genre with great comedy overall. 8 out of 10. Cautious Hero is extremely entertaining anime that takes generic isekai concept and flips it with a unique comedic style.
Yeah, that's about the type of review I was expecting for something like
posted this. June 30th, so just a couple days ago.
You'd hope that, like, with it talking about subverting tropes and whatnot, right? That would perk my ears up. I don't have confidence in that because especially like in the isekai genre, it's kind of a trope to quote unquote subvert the tropes, but then actually just do them. Right? Like the weeps like to feel like there's a little bit of subversion happening, even if there's not.
Right.
All right, and what's our fourth and final one?
Our fourth and final one. All right, I had all my tabs closed by mistake.
It's not like it's been 2 days.
Yeah. The last one is Demon Lord Retry.
I'm not even gonna bother.
No, you're not. You're not gonna try and get a little more information because I mean you've already fully written off the first one. You had a decent question for the second one.
Yeah.
The third one, you asked another gambling question, but you weren't satisfied with the response. Now you're not even gonna try and get more information. What if this is the sleeper?
I don't feel like it is. Give me the studio.
Studio?
Give me the studio and then a thing I would know from that studio.
One moment. The studio is Ekachi Epilka.
What the fuck? I don't know if we ain't ever talking about that motherfucker.
Correct. Yeah, no, this is a studio that was established in March of 2017, according to Mal, and dissolved in July of 2025. 4 anime to its name, and this is the top one. You can have that information for free.
Yeah, no, I feel good that I was discounting this one, considering it is 104 of all they ever did, and clearly, even though it may be the top one, they didn't have a breakout hit. Otherwise, they would still fucking exist, my guy.
Okay.
With this,
so considering how quickly you dismantle these, I'm tempted to give you the last two that I have prepared just to see what happens.
I'll choose. I'm gonna choose Jobless Reincarnation. Comparison to ReZero is at least a little bit promising. The fact that it's been recommended a bunch, maybe that's promising. All of these are terrible risks because Crunchyroll knows you love dog shit. So,
and here's the worst part about this whole thing, Rem. There are two, like quote unquote recommendation sections on this front page of Crunchyroll. So genuinely, this could be a section titled "Anime You'll Love," and it's the same for everybody. Because there's also a section that is inspired by you that has very similar results. So. And I opted to go for the Anime You'll Love because it was like more like convincing. It's like, hey,
yeah, it's more evocative.
Yeah, whereas like I can guarantee the first one is probably inspired by me. I genuinely don't know 100% if this one is, and I'm sure people will tell me if not. But if that's the case, then Crunchyroll really needs to reassess what they think the general populace will love.
All right, well, we don't need to go into too much detail, but Shaun, with the three that I am not choosing, any misses, or was it good that I avoided them?
Man. Where do I begin?
All right, so first one. What was Dylan's impression relatively spot on?
It wasn't accurate per se, but it wasn't. Hey, look, man. Let's just say here. I'll do you a solid. I'll send you the picture that I sent Dylan, so you can have a general idea.
Okay, yeah. Fill me in on what Dylan saw.
Yeah.
So this is the cover art for anybody who wants to play along. He just sent me a picture of himself doing the goatsy pose. Okay, just add the fact that like they're orphans or some shit, maybe magical orphans. But other than that,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. I'm still happy to have avoided that one. Is that one people adore or?
Oh no.
All right. Then we got
to summarize it. Essentially,
I don't need a summary. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Then the one that was subversive, comedic. Oh, they're cautious.
Yes.
That one, despite like reading a good review that talked about subversion, one might and maybe it genuinely is, but I have my doubts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cautious hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious. Could read the full Japanese title, but that one does have a lot of positive reviews, all things considered. It is the second most popular of the four.
Do you personally find it particularly funny or subversive?
There have been one or two jokes that made me chuckle.
Yeah, all right. And then the final one, fucking Demon Lord, whatever the fuck.
Oh, yeah, Demon Lord Retry. It is their highest rated, but their highest rated is 6.54. So.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god! It's not just that they were doing like mid shit; they were doing catastrophically trash shit.
Yeah, no, their next highest title was let's see, Fumikiri Jikan, which was 6.36, which was a 3-minute short form slice of life thing that.
Oh, well, short form gets a bad rap. Maybe that one's actually good.
I mean, hey, it's possible. I'll look into it, see if we can make an episode out of it. The one after that is one called Can I Make Your Ears Happy in 180 Seconds? So, presumably another short form. This one, that one
honestly, how did they last 8 years?
I don't know, man.
All right, but
that one has a 5.28.
Oh my god, let's get to the one we're actually doing. Jobless Reincarnation.
Okay, you chose you chose the most complicated one, Rem. Congratulations.
Awesome, perfect, love it.
Complicated as in how people are going to respond to this episode.
Oh, okay, all right. So they love it, and you suspect I will have
criticisms.
Whether, regardless of how I feel about it, I'm going to have some significant criticisms that people won't be happy about.
Correct.
All right, perfect, awesome.
All right, so you might have noticed that by and large, all those recommendations were isekais.
Yes.
And the things that I removed from the list, only one of them wasn't an isekai.
Jesus Christ.
Which makes me think that this category... Oh, sorry, 2 of them weren't isekais, sorry. Atelier and Freeren. So it makes me think, hey, maybe this was supposed to be an isekai category, or my algorithm's just fucked. Those are the only 2 outcomes that I can imagine for this. But with that in mind, Mushoku Tensei Isekai Itara Honkai Dasu, or Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. Rem, this has been one of the most requested anime in its genre since it came out in 2021.
Am I right in my prediction that by Jobless Reincarnation, they're using job as a sort of like D&D class type thing, and he's going to get reincarnated without a specific barbarian wizard or bullshit like that?
Actually, no. It's actually mostly referring to who he was before the reincarnation.
Oh, okay. He was just like a NEET or some shit.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking too hard. I just need to think it.
Hey, man!
Like tropes.
That's not a bad assumption because there are isekais with that very similar premise.
Yes.
But no. This is a. Oh boy. So this is a light novel adaptation first and foremost. And it's a light novel that the first season goes through the first 26 chapters of the original story.
Okay.
And oh boy. The studio involved is Studio Bind. You might be asking yourself, okay, what have we seen by them? The answer is nothing. They are a relatively new studio. They have exactly... well, they've been around since 2018, and it's kind of hard to parse because sometimes some of these things are little shorts. But 4 seasons of Jobless Reincarnation, 3rd season of another anime, and then 2 other smaller anime. So not much.
Look, Jobless Reincarnation, that's their pride and joy.
Yes. There is one that people have requested that we talk about, which it's about girls collecting rocks. Which I am tempted to to follow this episode up with that one, but we'll have to see what the next week holds. But essentially, it's a relatively young studio. This is their first big, huge success, and the general premise is something we've heard 1,000 times before.
Love to hear it.
Because this particular version of the isekai formula is one that actually went on to inspire several others from its light novel adaptation. Others, like, in fact, if I recall correctly, I think ReZero was directly inspired by aspects of Jobless Reincarnation.
Okay.
Hence why the brain connection right there. Even though one got an adaptation way before the other. Yeah. With Jobless Reincarnation, it is all about our main character. His original name does not fucking matter. Because he is... Oh, God. So the biggest...
You are struggling.
I am struggling because I want to try and put this in as good a light as possible, but to put it simply...
trying your damnedest to make me not hate it going in.
Yeah, I just got to be blunt with you. So this is an isekai with the creepiest form of reincarnation. Man gets truck-cooned, reincarnates as baby. with all memories intact.
Oh, that's a rough one. That's a rough one.
It's a rough start. But hey, it at least is a starting point, and like it's a brand new life. So the general idea is no matter how bad or shit his previous life was, the whole premise of this reincarnation is that he is going to do better in this light despite his complications and his major issues in previous life. Because when he died, he was a disgusting 34-year-old NEET who dies attempting to be heroic and save somebody from getting hit by a truck.
Okay.
He wakes up as a baby. And like I said, his name in the previous life does not matter because we only really know him as Rudius Grey Rat.
What the fuck
So Rudius.
kind of name is that?
Someone who was looking up some English names and
And they decided on Rudius Grey Rat?
Yeah.
What?
Rudius? Fair enough for a fancy name.
Kind of.
Grey Rat. It does feel like you pick the color in an animal and just kind of them together.
Yeah. Yep.
But Rudius, being, quite frankly, a failure as a human in our world, being reborn as essentially a prodigious mage in this new world. Because he has, of course, the intelligence of someone who's been around for 3 decades, and he figures out some quirks of the magic system that nobody else seems to have figured out. And the story is essentially just the progressive journey of him readjusting to this new life, coming to terms with who he is as a person, and growing, hopefully, because of it. His interactions with the people around him, his interactions with his new family.
Why do all isekai protagonists need to be prodigies? It's
Well, because if I recall correctly, let me just double check the exact time that this was written. Because, like I said, the original light novel was written 2014.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like 2011 to 2014, dark days.
Yep, start January of 2014 and ran all the way up to November of 2022. And it is a very beloved show because of the first thing you're going to comment on is the animation. That's going to be the thing. It's very pretty in the animation style. But people got attached to the characters, except the most divisive character in the whole story is, of course, the protagonist. This is a show that seems to want to be a story of true redemption, of true justification, and clearing the slate on a person who was just awful and horrible in his original life, and trying to make him into a better person in this one.
Can I point out an obvious flaw with that?
Sure thing, Rem.
So he dies by trying to save somebody, right?
Correct.
So he redeemed himself.
I mean, if you think jumping in front of a truck to save one life is a full redemption.
I think most anime would consider it that way. I think most anime, if you had a shitty character, but then they climactically save someone and die doing it, most anime would be like, bam, see, he redeemed himself.
And
so
it's less about redeeming. It's about redeeming himself in his own eyes and primarily ours, because I cannot emphasize enough how divisive of a character the protagonist of this show is, and why I've delayed wanting to talk about it for as long as possible, because it's a beloved show. However, the protagonist is a lot.
I'm hoping by a lot you mean that he's a fucking asshole, because I could use that in an anime protagonist, an asshole who the show knows is an asshole, not an asshole who they're like, yeah, but actually, guys. Well, and I guess the fact that they're doing a redemption arc, and that's the main narrative, does it's a little bit sus. All right, I don't think we're in for a BoJack Horseman depth of
yeah,
of redemption.
Let me put it to you this way: one of his main goals is, of course, to find love, which is a little already shaky.
This is gonna be dog shit. I had no good choices. You gave me 4 dog shit choices.
No. Crunchyroll gave you 4 dog shit
choices.
No,
Crunchyroll gave you 4 dog shit choices, and you voiced them onto me just because you love the dog shit, Shaun. Just because Crunchyroll knows you love the dog shit.
I watch literally everything on Crunchyroll, Rem. My algorithm's fucked. No matter how many times I clear things from my history, it's like, but you did watch them once.
Out of the 4 that you presented to me, how many out of 4 would you classify as loving based on what you've seen thus far?
Of the 4 options I gave you?
Yeah. How many of them would you say, from what I've seen, I loved it?
Well, there's Witch Hat Atelier. Free Rent.
Nope. Out of the 4 choices you gave me, you son of a bitch.
That you would love? Oh, no. That wasn't the premise of the show itself.
That you would love.
That I would love. Of those 4?
Because that's what the criteria was.
No.
None
0
out of 4?
No, like, Mushoku Tensei is the only one that kind of has a chance because they're at least trying to do something and it's pretty, but, like, I think I'm in the minority who are not a big fan of how they execute everything in this show. Like, it just, I can't get over most of, like, the aspects of the main character, the way things are set up, the people he is put up against as potential partners. It's like, it feels... What I
love about this is now, for like the first time ever, you've given your negative opinions before mine.
Yeah.
And for something popular and well liked.
I mean, I did it for Attack on Titan too, but
so in the final tradition, they'll be out for your blood and they won't even hear what I have to say. All right, well, let's go watch.
Look, it took us 5 years to cover the show. I think they could have figured out why I didn't cover it with how popular it is. There are some good qualities in the show. It's just, man,
what if this is if this is the isekai trash that you hate but I end up loving?
If that is, great. Maybe you'll change my mind. I would love for you to change my mind, but
it's possible.
I just, there's just something about this show. Like, I watched the first full season and I just, the second season got announced and I was like,
yeah,
there are things in here and I can see how other things would be inspired by it, and the animation is really good and high quality. It's just, man,
I cannot emphasize enough how much high quality animation will make weebs love it regardless of literally everything else.
Yeah.
Like, weebs, tell me like a really gorgeous anime that is universally disliked, right? Tell me a beautiful anime, absolutely gorgeous, that's below a 7 on Mal. Just leave that in the comments or emails. Let us know, because I'm curious, because I'm suspicious that there's a lot. I think you're going to struggle to find any, which isn't to say there aren't pretty anime with overwhelmingly dog shit everything else, but I don't think the weebs will see it that way.
Yeah, look, let's just say that somebody who has the mind of a 34-year-old being reincarnated into a child means you've got to do some things very fucking carefully, and this show does not.
Oh, no.
So, hey, again, anything's possible. Rem, if anybody can change my thoughts and views on this show, it's going to be you.
Yeah, let's see.
So yeah, without further ado, let's go watch some Mushoku Tensei. Oh, one final bit of housekeeping that I forgot to do last week, but I should definitely do this week. I have a small little side project that I'm doing with Mac from AnimEighties. Mac is going through One Piece for the very first time and really wanted to talk to somebody about it, so he got me, the only person he knows that is obsessed with One Piece. So we now have a lovely little podcast together called Tales from the Grand Line, where once every 2 weeks we go and we talk about an arc in One Piece as he progresses through it. Go give that a listen if you like me or Mac. And need a break from Remington.
I think they all need a break from Remington.
And we are back after watching the first 5 episodes of the hit 2021 anime, Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. And tell me, Rem, are you going to be able to change my mind on this show, or was my analysis of it fairly accurate from the get-go?
Well, that depends, Shaun.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna do something. I've done this once before, and I think it's important to do now. I'm gonna need to know the Mal score straight up front.
Up front.
Yeah, because here's the thing, Shaun. There's 2 ways that this part 2 can go. All right, and it depends on how beloved this show is. If this show is just irrationally well liked and popular to a not reasonable degree, but not insane degree, then I'm planning actually like a fun little bit where, and listeners, you don't need to listen to this part, a fun little bit where, like I'll be quote unquote, totally sincere about my defenses and argue for its favor, but mostly be doing bullshit, but couched in good rhetoric, you know? But if it's really high, then I can't justify doing the silly route because I need to be extremely precise and really dissect it articulately because otherwise the weebs are going to take everything I say out of context and not really hear me. I mean, either way that's going to happen, but I can at least try to mitigate it the other way. So I'm going to put the line at around an 8, all right? If it's higher than an 8, then unfortunately it's the less silly direction.
Okay. Do you have a more specific prediction, or do you think it's just going to be...
I will say...
Because it sounds like you're hoping for below that 8 score so you can be as silly as you like.
I'm going to say a 7.99.
Okay.
Because I want to believe. I want to believe, but if only just...
Well, yeah, starting. I'm okay breaking form for this because I've already given my raw opinion before we even have talked about the show, really. So yeah. 988,000 people have reviewed this show, Rem.
Yep.
Pretty big number.
Yep.
It's currently on its 3rd season, I believe, with I think a 4th on the way, and it's sitting nice and pretty at 8.32.
Oh my god!
Mm-hmm.
Holy fuck!
Yeah, it's currently ranked number 84 in terms of popularity, 308 in terms of overall rank.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
well.
Hey, bud, when I say that I'm one of the people whose opinion on this show is abnormally negative, I wasn't kidding.
Yeah, it'd be lovely if this part 2 was a silly thing where I defend the show satirically against you, and that could have been a good banter. But no, given the score, no, we need to...
we need to have a serious discussion on why this show is very problematic and very bad.
Yeah, we need to tear it apart.
Especially in the first 5 episodes.
Holy shit. All right, so... this means I'm gonna have to be more precise, and I'm gonna have to be more careful. Not in preventing my opinions by any means.
Oh no, your opinions are going to be there. They're going to be very
just how I'm formulating and discussing them, because there's a lot of things I am going to say and criticize that are going to sound like what the weebs are ready to hear. You know what I mean? The weebs who defend this show, I can already tell they have a few stock responses lined the fuck up to what they think I'm going to say. So then when I say things that are similar, but distinct, but different, they won't actually pay attention and they'll just use the stock defense anyway. Even though it will not apply. That's what's going to happen. I know that's what's going to happen.
I can't wait to hear what you think the call and response is going to be about the pedophilia stuff.
Yeah, let's
Which,
start
by the way, gang, trigger warnings for so much shit.
Yep. Let's start with the pedophilia, which I think is the main reason why many would probably imagine I dislike this show. And surprise, yeah, it's a significant contributor. So we have this 34-year-old NEET. He gets warped back into a baby body. He has full consciousness. He is super perverted from the get-go, and including then with the children who are girls that he meets. Here is a genuine couple of lines. There's like one intermediary line between these, but it's kind of irrelevant. In the first episode, he meets a tutor, all right? And he's kind of expecting... it's a magic tutor. He's expecting it to be this Merlin-like fella, old and wizened, but instead it's a young girl. And here are 2 sentences, 2 things he says, almost back to back. She looks like her bush hasn't grown in yet. I want to marry her. Now these are basically back to back. All right, we have this. So it isn't even just you could kind of pretend like, oh, well, maybe there's a little bit of child consciousness going on. No, he is actively aware of fucking prepubescence, and within the same thought, he's like, yeah, 100%. All right? So those are just inextricably linked. They are right there. Later on, he's going to meet a girl that's his age, quote unquote, his new age, you know.
His physical age, not mental age.
His physical age, there we go. And
which is not the combination you want.
No, not at all. And he talks about how he will gradually raise her to be my ideal woman. You know, grooming. Blatant grooming, you know, that line that encapsulates grooming. Now, Shaun.
Yep.
I think the weebs are prepared for this criticism.
Okay. There's a good chance. One of the first things they'll probably say is, oh, it's okay, because the magic tutor, Roxy, she's an adult. She just looks like a child.
they may say some things like that, but then I think I'll give them more credit than that because they know that wouldn't hold for Sylphie, right?
Mm-hmm.
They know that wouldn't quite hold for the grooming line. And some may argue it still doesn't hold for Roxy considering the line I just read, but whatever. All right. I think there's going to be a twofold defense of the pedophilia, which already is a bold stance, but there's going to be twofold defense. First of all, they are going to say, hey, just because a story or a character displays certain behaviors, beliefs, or things like that, does not mean that the show is endorsing or in any way supporting those things. And then they will continue on. Second of all, this story, it's one about redemption. So of course, he has to start out a bit shitty, so that he can get better. That's just what the narrative is about. After all, Remington, some of your favorite stories are about flawed protagonists. BoJack Horseman, it hardly gets more flawed than BoJack Horseman. He's one of the most flawed protagonists out there. What a piece of shit that guy is! And yet, it is still a good show, and he is a good character in large part because why? It's a story of redemption. It's the same thing, Remington. That's what they're going to say. So, a twofold defense.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, I've heard that exact defense before.
Yes.
And I briefly touched on it in part 1 as well when we were talking about it, because that's generally going to be the core ideal. But what are the problems, Rem? And I want to see if you agree, if you're going to point out the exact same things I thought.
All right, so let's take the macro topic of it being a redemption story and put that to the side.
All right,
because
we'll put it to the side.
This is not the only time we will be criticizing that part of it. And let's focus on talking about, hey, just because the show has these elements doesn't mean it endorses it. And very often it is only people with poor media literacy. There we go, throwing a couple buzzwords. Poor media literacy, only they would interpret it as such. So let's talk about how a show can depict different things. How to determine, I don't think whether endorses or not is as meaningful as just how it portrays. Let's talk about narrative framing, okay? And it's a very straightforward idea, right? How does it frame it, even beyond even just what the narrative is overtly telling you? For example, if you had a war story, all right, where there are a bunch of dope-ass action scenes of crazy battles, and the fucking Marines are able to survive and be kick-ass and badass, and it's amazing, and they have camaraderie, and they're like, hell yeah, and then in the final 10 seconds, one of them looks to the camera and says, war and violence are bad. So, the show is, what the movie then is telling you is that war and violence are bad, right? That is, if anything, the overt message. It is being clear. It is spoon-feeding that message to you. It couldn't be more overt. However, it would be, I think, understandable for you to say that intention does not seem to ring true, given how you have framed the war and framed the violence thus far. You at no point depicted it as anything bad, and don't get me wrong, plenty of things could even try to do a sort of twist where you depict violence as compelling and interesting, but then you say, hey, whether it's like a game or a movie, and you're like, hey, viewer, hey, gamer, hey, reader, you know how you were enjoying this thing? Kind of fucked up, actually, right? And some shows do this, some successfully, some less. And so you could be doing something like that with a twist, but either way, the way you would twist it or the way you would depict these things is with consequences and with tone, right? If there's somber music underlying it, as opposed to if there was if there was a sad opera song over the war songs, as opposed to say a groovy disco number just partying it up, something out of Guardians of the Galaxy maybe, right? Those would be framing the violence in different ways. If there were consequences for the actions, we also need to look at what is being prioritized and focused on. So if we're talking in a war story, talking about violence is bad, there are many casualties, but none of the casualties, none of those people were ever actual characters, right? We only had the characters of the people doing the killing, but we never actually fleshed out the victims. They were just vaguely victim-shaped holes, right? Well, it seems like in almost every single way, we are mitigating the possibility of sending the message that war and violence are bad. And instead, we're kind of saying, It's no big deal and it's kind of awesome. But we don't want to say that overtly, so ward's bad, right? And so narrative framing is more important. There's a phrase, I wish I could remember exactly who said it. It is a lovely quote, but it is trust the tale, not the teller. It sort of goes even like further than death of the author. It's like, hey, it's not about what the author or even the show is telling you it's about. It is what the story itself is actually about, what you interpret with your own eyeballs. So there we go. A nice long-winded way of saying narrative framing is important and valuable. And so in the conversation of this show's pedophilia, what was that?
D.H. Lawrence, a British novelist.
All right, D.H. Lawrence, great quote. And so within the frame of this show, how does it frame the perversions and the pedophilia, right? That's the important question, because depending on how it frames it, that will largely show how we are supposed to be interpreting it. And there's a few clues thus far. I think a few little subtle clues. First of all, it seems like a lot of the shots are meant to tantalize the viewer just as much as they're meant to tantalize good old Rudy.
Yeah, it's got to be said, there are a lot of very strange low angles for a show that's...
lots of low angles, lots of jiggle physics, right? Then, a lot of the moments that aren't played to be horny, they're played for comedy, right? They're played to be a little silly and fun. Okay. Well, how does it treat Rudy specifically? Well, there aren't really significant consequences thus far in these 5 episodes. And not only that, but take, for instance, he steals the panties of his magic tutor, Roxy, right? And as it turns out, hey, she knew about it. She sends him a letter and is like, I knew. She doesn't mind. It's sort of just like, oh, you scamp. You playful little scamp, you. And indeed, that does seem to capture how it is trying to frame Rudy as sure, his perversions and degeneracy, obviously it's a flaw, but it's a flaw like that friend who's a little late to stuff. It's a flaw. It's like, yeah, it's just how they are. It's a friend who makes like a little too raunchy of jokes. You're like, yeah, okay, it's a little raunchy, but you know, he's not doing any meaningful harm. And that seems thus far to overwhelmingly be the frame of his sexual perversions. As for the pedophilia specifically, the show does not seem to really care about that front. The show doesn't view the pedophilia as anything particularly unique as compared to his other perversions, right? And so it seems like that is how it is framing things, that it seems like everything supports it. Furthermore, it wants to emphasize, hey, Rudy isn't the only pervert. All right, Roxy's new student, he's even more of a pervert. His dad, even more of a pervert. There's every fucking guy in this show is a fucking pervert. So really, Rudy's actually a gentleman pervert. So, I mean, if all guys are going to be perverts, then you'd want your pervert to be Rudy. And that is another way it frames the narrative. So in all of this, does it seem like we're laying the foundations to meaningfully criticize this behavior? Or does it seem like we're laying the foundations to do what the vast majority of other isekai and similar shows do, which is shrug it off? Now, who knows? Maybe Shaun will also get a good old, well, you need to watch it more. Because eventually he's like, oh, I've been a pervert. I need to stop doing that. And then he'll like turn off his perversions. But that, once again, it just amounts to the example I had earlier. Okay, you can suddenly look in the face and have a soldier be like, you know what, I'm not going to be a soldier anymore. War is bad. But if the previous 2 hours happened and I'm like, well, it seemed to just be great and awesome, and there were only meaningful consequences, I guess, when you wanted to suddenly say that there's a change and look growth. But that's not how that works. You need to have those consequences all throughout, especially if it's going to be one of the major themes of the fucking show. So those are the major criticisms of the perverted stuff. And that is even before we talk about truly how much of this show is focused on it. Because some of them could say, look, I agree that that's a genuine critique, but a couple scenes here and there ain't the end of the world. It saturates the show. Every single guy is a pervert, and every woman is simultaneously scandalized and into it. Of course, we get we get a visual of his dad absolutely pounding his mom. We're constantly hearing them from their bedroom. Of course, we see Roxy listening in. She's turned on. Later, we see the maid listening. Oh, she's turned on. Oh, fair, because the maid can't help herself, right? Everybody is just so fucking sexually charged in this world. Rudy can't stop talking about it, but he's not even the only one, baby. Everyone's non-fucking stop about it. It is probably the single most talked about topic in the whole show. Second would be magic, and then third, just kind of everything else. And that is insane. That is wildly egregious, especially. Now let's transition into the broader sort of redemption narrative. Rudy, he's his whole thing is that he was a NEET. He wasted his first life, right? That's the whole thing about the show. He wasted his first life. He was lazy, didn't have ambition, he closed himself off, and so he wasted that first life, but now he's been given a second chance. That's the heart. That's what it's all about. And
Yeah.
so with the second life, he's not going to waste it. He's going to learn how to be a better person and how to live a better life. Okay, so when we sort of consider that, if I'm crafting this narrative in my head, right? If I were designing this, I would think, okay, so what things, especially if it's going to be a redemption narrative, then we have to be focused on Rudy's choices and decisions and behaviors that led him to waste his first life, right? And so you could say, he's lazy. He wasn't particularly driven. Maybe he didn't treat people well. Maybe it was that he was awkward. Maybe it was that he was rude. Maybe it's that he didn't recognize them as fully fledged out people. Maybe he was an immoral asshole, right? And maybe all these things combined together. And indeed, maybe he was a pervert. But through this new life, it's not going to be easy, but he's going to systematically work through those and improve. Makes sense? It's an understandable format. So we'll focus on one, right? One that it talks about repeatedly. And that's laziness versus hard work. Certainly not easy if you've been so lazy for decades to start working really hard. But you can imagine being sent to a world, especially maybe without distractions, and having to maybe toil on some fields, do a little bit of farming or something, and get your hands dirty a bit. That could teach hard work. Maybe he learns the value of it that way. Maybe he just has something he wants. Maybe he wants to be. He wants to learn magic, but it's so difficult and unintuitive, especially for his mind that's not used to this world. So that he has to try. He's at a disadvantage, but because it's something he cares about, he's going to put more effort in than anybody else, right? And it's not going to be easy. Initially, it'll just be more effort than he previously could, but gradually he'll get better at putting the effort in. That would make sense. No one said he's a super magic prodigy who learns things about the magical world that apparently even the writers of intermediate textbooks had no fucking idea of. They were fucking clueless. And these are the basic things. These are things like, if you practice, you get better. Right? Nobody figured that out before Rudy. Rudy's just that fucking innovative. Nobody thought of trying the magic without saying the words, by just doing what it felt like the first time. Nobody was doing this shit. And hey, weebs, I'm sure somebody else later, eventually they'll power creep it and be like, oh no, actually, these people who are super powerful, they've been doing that for ages, or some bullshit like that. I don't care. We're talking about where we are right now. And indeed, so now he can just do insane magic better and easier than everybody else. He can bend the world to his will better and easier than everybody else. And he has a much easier time doing that than anybody else trying to learn it. Okay, well, that seems a little contradictory to the learning hard work ethos, right? That seems like it doesn't quite mesh there. Okay, but what about he struggles to socialize and interact with people because he was such a shut-in. Well, no, actually, great news. Because he played dating sims and shit, he just uses those lines, and he's actually super charming, charismatic, and everybody immediately really likes him. And he doesn't struggle at all on that front. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we talk about how that kind of lifestyle can be antisocial, view people less as people and objects. It could relate to the sexuality. But no, he is honorable. He is kind. He recognizes the value in humanity. He wants to make sure to protect the weak. He despises the immorality he witnesses in others. How dare they? He wants to be vigilant and kind. People constantly remark on it, and indeed, he is constantly being the hero. I mean, remember, this is how he died after trying to save some kids for some reason. We don't know. Just because he's that good of a guy. And we see this one girl, she's getting bullied, and you're damn right, in this other world, he shows up and saves her. And later on, when his dad's infidelity is revealed, where he's like, "Hey, you know what? It's Dad's fault for the infidelity, not the maid. The maid should be able to stay living with us." And he does emotionally manipulate and abuse the fuck out of his mom to accomplish this, who's emotionally distraught after hearing about an affair. But the show doesn't really consider it that way. The show just views it as him helping the maid out, because he's that noble. And afterwards, the maid's like, "Oh my God, I thought he was just a pervert child this whole time, but actually, he saved my life and I owe him everything." So, you may realize that all of these things are a bit weird to have right away in your so-called redemption narrative. If he's actually an amazing person who is so talented and great, and he gets shit handed to him, and he's just so good at that, well, you're undermining the kind of narrative that you're pretending to tell in almost every single way you possibly could. And some people will even say, "Hey, but I mean, Remington, you're talking all about how the show thinks he's such a swell guy, but you talked about how he emotionally harasses and manipulates his emotionally distraught mom. That doesn't sound like a good action." Later on, he's forced to be a tutor to a rich girl who's very mean, and he actually kidnaps her and does nothing as she gets absolutely brutalized and bloodied, because he thinks it's all part of his plan, even though it turns out it's not. That's a pretty fucked up thing to do. But the show isn't meaningfully framing it as such. The show, even for the latter example, is, well, she's a bitch. She's a bitch, and yeah, she got roughed up, but they have healing magic, so kinda who cares? And she's still being stubborn, so, clearly she still deserves it, at least to some degree. The show is not meaningfully contending with the bouts of immorality that Rudius has. In fact, the show goes through every opportunity to show he's actually a really nice guy. In fact, hey, we're talking about this redemption narrative, but here's the thing, Shaun. What if it wasn't even his actions and behaviors that led him there? What if instead it was a life filled with bullying? So actually, who can blame him for ending up a NEET and wasting his first life when he was bullied so viciously that he's afraid in the new world to go outside because he's afraid that he'll be bullied again, which is immediately resolved. He's just taken outside with Roxy, and bada bing, bada bam, his latent agoraphobia and borderline panic attacks about bullying, they're gone. They're just gone.
Oh yeah, no, he even has a whole ass scene where he stands up to some bullies, quote unquote, and gets in trouble for it. It's not even much of a conflict for him.
Oh, and that whole, he has an argument with his dad, where his dad, who has been nothing but considerate and kind this whole time, becomes the greatest asshole. And then you get Rudy, who gets to be this sort of the worst kind of pretentious kid archetype, who's like, "Oh, I just came here to explain the evils of the world, and you smacked me and wouldn't listen, so I guess I must instead partake in the evils, Father." And the father's like, "No, of course you are right, Rudy. I am the one in the wrong." It just fucking basically prostrates himself onto Rudy. You can do no wrong, and I was wrong for ever thinking you could do wrong. Right? That's not too far off from how the fucking scene plays out.
It's pretty damn close.
Genuinely, Roxy just takes him outside, and suddenly he's fine. Takes him outside the gates of the house, and suddenly he's like, "Oh, I have no reason to be afraid of being outside anymore." That's how anxiety works, kids. Especially for a show that's pretending to be about deep-seated traumas, how they got you there, working through them, redeeming yourself. It's good that we can see such deep, grounded psychological realities as no, but if you just try to face it a single time, then you're going to be fine and there'll be no consequences. Like, he doesn't even have a panic attack. He doesn't struggle. Progress is completely linear for these things. There's never any backsliding. It's never a tangled web. It is just completely linear, easy, simple, immediate, and permanent. So that's
hey,
great.
Rem, he got some trauma at the end of episode 5, seeing a decapitated corpse. Doesn't that?
It's true. For some reason, that really fucked him up and traumatized him, kind of. Seeing a little girl get brutalized in front of him by a full-grown man who is beating her bloody, that does not faze him. I cannot emphasize, he does not react much at all. A decapitated body of that guy, oh Lord, this is a deeply seated trauma. But also, we don't need to add to his traumas, especially in this sense where it's like, trauma's not caused by him. If we're telling a redemption narrative, right, the only one that should be traumatizing him is him, either directly or indirectly, which could be a nice come to Jesus moment. This is just other shit that's happening. So if we're pretending this is a redemption narrative, you're just off base. Now other people, who knows, maybe the weebs will say, all right, you got us. It's not a redemption narrative. You got us. It's not deeper than it seems. It's just a fun isekai. In which case, I say, it's just the same generic shit we've seen a million times. It's not adding anything. The characters aren't particularly deep. He's just working on building a fucking harem. And somebody said, oh, but maybe he doesn't get a harem. But okay, pseudo-harem, whatever you want to call it.
Hey, like, look, man, I stumbled across a spoiler for the end of the series.
Oh my god, he gets a harem?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like, it's not tagged as a harem, but oh man, that does seem to be 3 female characters dating this one character.
Yeah, and of course, because it has the exact same tonality. Hey, we're getting introduced to a new important character he needs to get to know. Guess if they're a man or a woman. What? It's a pretty or sexy girl? Crazy! All right, well, what about the guys? Just a handful of perverts. They're not super relevant, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't know, his dad might be kind of sort of relevant if you squint, but mostly so that Rudy can prove that he's a better man than his father. I for a moment, I thought there would be an interesting point, because there's a plot point of the dad being unfaithful to the mom with the maid, right? And thus far, barring one argument, they've been very, like, perfect couple style, right? And so it's like, okay, and so now you introduce that there are cracks in the facade, and you could have this really shake up Rudy, and maybe now you could have a meaningful note of sort of redemption where Rudy is like, oh shit! Like, maybe you have the dad sort of unapologetic about it, right? Maybe in a little bit of an asshole, but with semi-rational sounding explanations, right? Just blah, blah, blah. I'm the man of the household. What are you gonna throw her out, leave her to the wolves? Like, basically tell his mom what Rudy ends up telling her.
Yeah.
Because it is fucked up. Do some stuff like that, right? And have Rudy be watching that and not only realize that is fucked up, but realize the similarities of that in himself and be like, oh shit, I see a piece of myself in this scumbag who I respected up till now. But it could be an interesting little come to Jesus moment, adding some texture. No, it is so quickly resolved in a way that just wants to show that Rudy is so benevolent and kind, and he wants to make sure that the maid is taken care of. And it's just...
It doesn't really do much for like strong characterization or displaying flawed characters in an honest way.
Not anywhere close. I love me some really good flawed characters, and what we get here is just literally the same old shit we've seen a million times, but this time it looks the weebs in the eyes and says, oh, but this time it's deep. And because it's pretty, and I'll be honest, the show looks nice, but it's like, I don't know, it's just above average. I wouldn't say it's like amazing visuals. It's above average visuals. I've seen way better and more compelling.
Well, I mean, in fairness, it came out half a decade ago.
And no, even like half a decade. so yeah, it's a little bit pretty, and I think perhaps the concept could be an interesting one if it were explored intelligently and meaningfully, but it simply is not. It's simply absolute dog shit. It does all the same shit we've seen a million times before, this time pretending it's more meaningful and important, but then fucking that up and undermining its so-called importance at every fucking turn. It's insane that this is in the top 100. This is one of the strongest
top 100
indictments.
popularity, not rank.
Sure,
popularity and rank are so fluffy in
top 100 in popularity and insanely highly ranked.
Yes. Yeah, 308 in rank, 84 in popularity.
And that is still absolutely baffling to me because, guys, you surely you can recognize that it's still sawdust, even if it's in a Rice Krispie wrapper, right? Just because the wrapper is different, you don't need to eat the sawdust and be like, ooh, taste how sweet it is. It's the same shit, guys. Don't be fooled.
Yeah.
Why are you letting this happen to yourselves?
Popularity is just how many people reviewed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
is a weird metric.
Crazy. It should not be this popular. It should not be this highly ranked. It should be one that everybody agrees is trash. But I genuinely think that I think there's going to be a lot of diehard defenders of this show. And once again, I don't think they will have meaningfully listened to my points. So I think they're going to repeat literally the same criticisms I have already outlined, just with the additional, he doesn't get it. Or he hasn't watched enough of it. In fucking episode 20, he says, whoops, my bad. And isn't that enough for you? Doesn't that obviously indicate that the show knows of his wrongdoing? Despite the fact that I'm very confident that at least one in the harem is going to be his fucking child bride, who he explicitly sets out to groom. And if that is the case, then even if later he's like, oh, I did a whoopsie and groomed her, anyway, time to marry her. Like, even if that were to happen, you can see how that wouldn't be very convincing. You all see and understand that, right? We're all on the same fucking page about that, right? Because somehow I don't think we all are. I'm genuinely losing my mind at how highly rated this was. Fucking 8.32. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, and going through, like, if I was to go through all of the super positive ratings, you would absolutely lose your mind. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yes.
The people who rate it negatively say basically everything you just said.
Yeah.
Because,
guys, first of all, I understand if people if people just show up and are like, oh, pedo shit, gross, oh, predatory perversion, gross, I'm not into it, and they bounce off that is enough of a reason, all right? That is, yep. I need to have enough of a reason. But
we're not dealing with, like, a singular incident that is poorly done and tasteless in a way that detracts from the show.
It is in the DNA.
Yeah, it is very frequent and very regular.
But then, even if we were to remove all of that, and that'd be a lot that we'd be removing. Even if we took it all away, it would still be a very poorly done, shallow show that undermines what it sets out to do, and is just dog shit quality overall, alright? So even if all that wasn't there, it would still be dog shit, and I need you guys to understand that.
Yeah, no, Rem, like, you're basically parroting what I felt when I first watched this back in 2021, thinking about bringing it to the podcast. I was like, oh yeah, this is gorgeous. And when I watched the first episode, it's like, this is a little weird and uncomfy. But hey, that happens sometimes in anime. It's not always like a mainstay of the entire show. Then I watched another episode, then another episode, then another episode, and going, and I was just like, nope. It's pretty, but I don't think I can justifiably do an episode on it as it stands right now because, man, like, just covering it because it's popular at the time doesn't seem like the best option. So the fact that it happened to come up here accidentally because of a Crunchyroll suggestion, and the fact that they're like, oh, it just so happens that the third
only other
season
thing
is
I can kind of see people talking about is maybe like the world building or magic system, which I'm gonna love with you. I also wasn't
Mm-hmm.
It's like slightly different, but also pretty dumb. Where if you say incantation, then you can do the magic.
Yeah.
And thus far that seems to hold for basically any spell. And then you just need to feel it real hard to do it without the incantation, with a bit of practice. And it talks about like some more specific details about how it works that does not matter. Like I can vaguely appreciate when those details are given, in a sense of like it shows that hey, the show is thinking about the details, so you don't need to, right? And it can kind of do one of those numbers, but at the same time, it still just amounts to being the same old generic magic you've seen everywhere else, like in a similar fantasy world that you've seen everywhere else. It's nothing.
Yeah, it goes kind of back to what I said earlier. Like, this was a story written before a lot of the big isekais got fully adapted, and then here it is getting adapted, nearly 10 years after its original publication. We've moved past a lot of that stuff. So if this had maybe come out around that time, it wouldn't have felt as samey and stale by that point. But
it would still feel insanely dated by now.
Yes, correct. But yeah, the third season's currently airing. It's very highly rated, but it might shock you to hear that only 20,000 people have reviewed it so far, because people either never finished it, because a lot of the reviews are reviews that are written after only seeing the first 5 episodes based on their listings, and the people that did finish it that do recommend it, a lot of them are filled with mentions of defending, saying like, oh, people just don't like it because of the protagonist. And I'm like, well, the protagonist is kind of the biggest issue, but everything around the protagonist ain't great either. I like a lot of the colorful magic and some of the scenes with the action in it. It's fun. It can be interesting. But at the same time, a little hit of dopamine here and there, and a giant cat muscle woman slicing off the head of some bad dudes, that's fun and all. But if the core of the show is surrounding this guy that I absolutely hate, and I don't have any reason to root for him or want him to be better.
See, meanwhile, I'm down to have I enjoy a good despicable protagonist, but
the show has to know they're despicable.
Well. Yeah, the show needs to be, first of all, aware of that fact in a meaningful way, and not just in a lip service way where it's like, yeah, he's a bad guy, that's why he's trying to get better. Anyway, this is why he's so great. Like, it needs to meaningfully contend with that. I'm down. I love when characters are scummy and make me feel uncomfortable, and I'm like, oh dear God, what the fuck, right? A lot of my favorite stories have characters down that vein. I mean, my favorite genre is horror. Of course! A lot of them are like, hey, it'd be really horrific if we are in the mind of the most depraved individual around. Ain't that fucked? And it's like, oh my God. And those can still be well done stories. This is not one of those.
And I mean, hey, Obsession dropped pretty recently, and there aren't very many good people in that movie, I'm told.
Yeah. Oh my God, you need to watch Obsession. It's so good.
Oh yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward. But it just kind of goes to show that, man, oh man, like, it pretty for the time, and it's pretty now. Like, the animation has only gotten better as time has gone on, as far as I've been told, at least. But oh boy, like, if you want to tell a dark, complex story about fucked up, awful people, you need to actually frame the story in a way that will actually make you realize that the show realizes that they're dark and fucked up. Like, Paul being a shitty father, except for when he's not, doesn't really like lend itself to a good narrative of a side character, and Rudy as being like God's perfect child every single time, even though we both know that this is a man in his mid-30s plus a few extra years because of however old he is in the show. It's like, it doesn't really lend itself to much goodwill or faith.
I just, here, Weeps, let me give you the one out, okay? Here's the one honest out you can have, all right? Because defending it as a redemption narrative probably isn't going to go well. Being like, oh, the perversions and pedophilia are okay, actually, that probably isn't going to go well. Here is what you say if you love this show. You be honest. And you say, well, being honest, I don't care about / I enjoy the perversions and pedophilia and the redemption narrative. I don't care that it's poorly done. Maybe I like the concept, or maybe I don't care about it all. And I just like the show. Yeah, maybe more of the same, but I like the same. Keep giving me that sawdust. If you're just honest about it. If you're just honest and you're like, yeah, it's all, sure, it may fail on all those fronts, but I personally do not care / prefer it that way. And thus see me at the Sawdust Factory. If you're honest about it, that is your only defense. We all like bad things from time to time. Just don't pretend that it's a fucking masterpiece.
And if you're still being stubborn about it, we have a lovely email. Please send us your well thought out arguments about why you think the show is good and redeemable, keeping in mind that Remington has only seen the first 5 episodes, and I have seen the whole first season. I maintain my opinion.
In your opinion, after the first season, are there any particular opinions I espoused that you're like, based on the first season, that's way off? That's completely unjustified.
I mean, it gets some less focus, but it's still there. Like, you'll be watching it, they'll be talking about some, like, complex, like,
realize, oh shit, we need probably, like, a plot at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and, like, there's a whole, like, magical disaster incident that happens that causes some major world conflict and such, and, like, separates people. It's, yeah. Like, there is stuff that goes on, and there is story, like a larger narrative story, but it is just no matter what they do, the core of what I experienced in these first handful of episodes sticks with me throughout the whole thing, because it's like, I can't go through. And then, of course, me finding out by accident that there is some heron-ass shenanigans by the end of this story. I don't know if it happens in the anime, or if it's just like something that slipped through from the end of the light novels, because light novels are finished. It doesn't really bode well for my opinion of the future of things, because I'm not against polyamory. I just don't trust this author or this.
Oh, you don't think it's going to give meaningful female agency? Think of all of the meaningful female decisions that they've had so far. Like the
maid and the mom?
Well, that would be nice if there was agency. I guess there was some possible agency.
I mean,
the maid says she seduced him, but it does seem like he did take advantage. We'll say she had a little agency with the affair, but then even then, the decision to keep the maid there isn't through what the maid says, isn't through what the mom says. It is just through what Rudy says. And then we got like Sylvie, who at one point, she and Rudy have a fight because he strips her down because he thinks she's a boy. I didn't mention that because it's just the same old trope we see a million times, where like you see a girl getting bullied and you're like, that's a girl getting bullied. And then Rudy is like, wow, a boy getting bullied. And you're like, well, obviously not. Frankly, you wouldn't be saving them if it was a boy. I know how this narrative goes. But they get into a bit of a fight. And okay, so maybe it's up to Sylvie to forgive or not. No, he apologizes, and she's just like, yeah, that's fine. I like things how they are, so you don't need to stress or worry about it at all. I do not dwell on any possible wrongdoing even a little bit. You've completely fixed everything. Well, what about with Roxy? Well, it turns out he's actually an amazing mage, so he doesn't need a lot of learning on that front. And so, thus far, when it comes to meaningfully female decisions made in 5 episodes, despite plenty of female characters, I guess we have, at the very end, the bratty, violent rich girl punches Rudy, and that's at least a choice. Look, this is as far as we can get. And Ghislaine, the beast woman, saves them, quote unquote saves them. Rudy saves the day with magic, but then somebody throws their sword at him, and for some reason he can't blast it away or blow it away with magic, even though we've seen him do far more impressive things. But apparently now he can't. So he needs to. So,
yeah.
Some women are violent, and that's the closest to female agency we ever get.
Yeah, it also doesn't help that, the bratty noble girl, her name is Eris. Like, come on now.
So I hate all of this. I think truly it fails on almost every single measure, not just a little bit, but spectacularly so. This is one of the shows that I'd be baffled that it was in the high 7s, let alone in the 8s, let alone as popular as it is and as beloved. It fucking blows my mind. What's wrong with you? All right. Oh, there we go. And to think,
with who? With me?
Well, I mean, this was. I have sources that saying that you'd love this.
No, so we cannot take Crunchyroll.
From what I heard, little birdie on my shoulder.
My Crunchyroll cannot be trusted, unfortunately.
Little birdie been saying that you may love this anime, Shaun.
And guess what? I fucking didn't. Like, you think it would have remembered when I watched it in the first season and didn't bother watching it when the second season came out.
It believed that you were just so enraptured by the first season that, like, you needed a moment to yourself.
Yeah.
You were like, that's so divinely good, rapturously good, that I need a break from how good it is.
It could not be more wrong. Yeah, no. Like, and if this is, like, just a pre-curated thing that just, like, somebody at Crunchyroll made and then, like, made it deceptively titled it, so...
I mean, that's worse. That means it thinks everyone will love that.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like, I don't know which it is, because there are, in fact, 2 sections on Crunchyroll right now that allude to being, like, algorithm picked for me. And this is just the first one that I happen to see. And
well, what an episode, Shaun.
Oh, hey, buddy. You can see why I didn't want to watch it for a long ass time, or why I
should have done the fucking Lolly Academy Isekai, whatever the fuck Dylan's description was. Should have just done that one.
His exact one was Lolly School Harem Isekai, and he then did follow it up later with, my thoughts are every person involved with this needs their hard drive checked.
Oh, well, hey.
And that is with, like, a super Bitcrust version of the poster.
Boy, do I have a different show to show him. if that's what he's saying about that one. Oh, boy, Dylan, you need to check this one out, stat, because, woo! Yeah, anyway, we've spoken enough. We're risking just going in circles at this point and still being misunderstood.
Long story short, Ram, I was right to think that you weren't going to have a good time with this, and just because we happen to be in a small minority doesn't mean that we're wrong.
Oh, yeah, it's one of the more obviously awful anime we've ever covered. It's look, it'd be silly for me to say that it's a contender for one of the worst, but it's definitely in the abyss tier, right?
Yeah,
it's thrown in the abyss tier. And the things in the abyss tier, it's hard to rank and sort them, but it's in unprivileged company.
Yes, it's one of those situations where it may not be, like, categorically the worst thing we've ever seen, but it is one of those things that is, like, the combination of how bad it is mixed with how popular it is turns into, like, a spiraling miasma.
And I cannot emphasize the fact that it tries to do more and fails so substantially does mean that it is lesser. It would have been better if it did not try to do more.
If it had stuck one thing and stuck to that and tried to do one thing very well, it could have been good. Like, I mean, they clearly had the budget and the animation, but
I mean, the concept could work. Okay, I'm about to get heated again. Let's just let's close it out. Let's close it out.
But people love it when you get heated, Rem.
They've gotten plenty of it. They've gotten plenty.
Oh, that's okay, Rem. Don't worry. We'll get lots of interesting responses to this. But I do encourage genuine, thoughtful responses because I would love to hear opinions from people on why they think this is a good show.
Also, I swear to God, if you just say, wow, Remington doesn't get it, how could he say whatever? He's so wrong. And then that is your whole response. All I'm asking, counterpoints and examples. Ideally from the first 5 fucking episodes.
And
right?
if that is your comment, just leave it on, like, the YouTube version of it so that, you know. If on the YouTube version of this episode, just like, if we get, like, a dozen comments are that exact phrase over and over and over again, that'll be great for the algorithm and I'll love it. And then people will be very confused as to why there's so many of the same thing. We don't get a whole lot of views on the YouTube version, but when we do, it is very funny to see some of the comments people leave.
Look, we're mostly Spotify and Patreon. Those are big too. All right. Yep. If you're on anything else, then just know you're a little weirder. You're a little freak. You're special.
Yeah.
If you're on one of the big 2 I just mentioned, then hey, you're part of the in crowd. You're special.
A lot more honesty than this show is willing to admit. But with that in mind, the final question I need to ask you, Rem, is there any chance you'd want to give Mushoku Tensei another try? Maybe there's something we're missing.
No shot in fucking hell. No.
Now, I don't normally ask this, but what would it take for you to be willing to cover more of this. At least, like, let's say half of the season. Because it's a 24 episode season.
Cold hard cash, baby.
Cold hard cash?
I deliberately not specifying a number because
that has bit you in the ass before.
Yeah. And the one who says the number first loses. So, just offers available. Offers available if the weebs are willing to bribe me sufficiently. Because it's not just that it is absolutely dog shit that I absolutely abhor. It's that I need to put so much genuine effort into my critiques because it's so beloved, because I know the weebs are what they're going to say and how they're going to misunderstand. So I need to work around that and preempt it. It's one I can't be even off the cuff about. So I have to endure the pain and endure additional mental suffering of sorting precise thoughts through the pain to a higher degree than average.
So they should just watch something like ReZero instead, you think?
Yes. ReZero, much better choice. There's anything would be so much better of a choice.
Yeah. A nice, healthy episode of Bear in the Big Blue House will probably give you more dopamine.
Oh, yes! Yes! Give me that bear! Give me that blue house!
Fantastic. Well, with that in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy Rem selecting potentially the worst fate he could have chose, then please head on over to wherever you get your podcast and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. That's another place where you can voice your opinions. And if we get a bunch of reviews that say, man, he just doesn't get it, paired with a 5-star review, that'll make me laugh too, honestly. But they do mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if that is still not enough for you, you can head on over to twitch.tv/anime-out-of-context, where myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly. And if that is still not enough for you, patreon.com/anime-out-of-context, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast when Patreon lets us.
Yes. Fortunately, the new inconvenient system is working this week. So, as always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are absolutely kicking our ass when we offer to tutor them. And on that list, we have, Your Honor, if my client were red-pilled, would he openly support women's sports like, checks notes, K-Joe? It's very good. It's very good. I like it.
That's a pretty good joke. I do appreciate that as a joke. That's pretty funny.
Yet look, Shaun is a strong proponent. He's starting out, he believes, Red Pill Ron believes in women's rights. He's starting actually an all-girls school. The outfits are out of Kill la Kill. The sports are K-Joe.
Okay.
Because he believes that those were the two most empowering examples he could think of.
Okay.
So.
Kent, when you say school, could you at least amend it to adult college?
Saw them both in anime he'd love.
I hate you, Remington.
Yet he has nothing to say. Boost your relationship to continue. Yandere Echo, Wolfire 56, West Kane. We need a separate podcast to hear Remington's terrible movie opinions. Speaking of movie opinions, literally, do you want to know the movie I watched before watching Jobless Reincarnation?
What?
It was the top-rated movie on all of Letterboxd, Harakiri, right?
Okay.
Very well-known, beloved Japanese movie about samurai, honor, hypocrisy, power. Uh-huh. Great movie. Fantastic movie. And Jobless Reincarnation.
With this.
This was my chaser to that.
It's like having just the nice, lovely, warm cup of hot chocolate and then immediately chasing it with pure fucking vinegar.
You're like, hey, here's some a beautiful Wagyu steak, and for the beverage, curdled milk. And it's like, oh, I don't know if this is going to go together well. Watching Requiem for Spoonman at 0.5 speed. Wait, why is my sergeant a frog? Wait, am I first now? How? Well, you're not anymore. The answer is, it has reverted back to reverse alphabetical because of how I need to handle this. Variant. Trump stick gobbling red pill glizzy gloinking Yiddish Roland slaps women like Sean Connery and James Bond. Sean Connery do be slapping a lot of women.
Yeah.
Titan CNH. This week's identity pitch. Jonathan Agnes Megamarks Rigatoni Rollins. I like Rigatoni Rollins.
I mean, I feel like that's given me some Italian heritage that I don't think I had.
The wheel is rolling towards a mirror. I need you to revisit the Susanator. The Danish Viking will conquer the world with Ornor as my navigator. Turban, Tech Turtle, Super Zoo. Starting episode 424, I'm giving my own rating out of 10. Hell yeah. Stacy's mom, Sparcy, the unbiblically accurate angel. Slum-a-ding-dong in a door. Shaun, please put Rem in a jar. I'm getting bored of Judy. Shaun, please give Spoon Man a thank you. Shaun wants to give Spoon Man a thank you. Shaun ruined my happy sugar life when he code on my geese till I One Piece in my school days remastered. Shawnee Neko, signing up Red Pill Rollins email on websites until we get 2 seasons, code geese. Shaun Red Pill Milf Hunter Dakimakura Lovin' Rollins. Shaun, it's your neighbor. Please stop doing naked yoga in the front yards. I fear the Lord won't forgive me if I spill any more seed.
They think I can afford a yard.
Sarah from the Shark plushie, sentenced to be a podcast host. Ryan Moody, Rem in the World Cup. Remington's right. Remington and Shaun are my favorite closeted Mormon couple. Rem, what do you think of Magic the Gathering? Rem was completely right this episode, Shaun.
Yes.
This time he would agree.
Yeah. I mean, I'd argue I was right before Rem was.
Yeah, but I was more right.
I see.
Rem uses the drums of liberation to free all weeps from bad anime. Rem in the cuck chair watching Red Pill Rollins get them hemorrhoids gnaw off by Judy Hopps at the Super 8 with Scooby-Doo on TV. Shaun, don't get your hemorrhoids gnawed off. That doesn't sound very sexy. That doesn't.
I don't have.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be in the cuck chair as Judy gnaws off your little ladybugs. Red does completely hate my favorite shows. Red Pill Rollins calling trans Shaun slurs for pride. Red Pill Rollins versus the Howl Band in basketball 1v1 when. Rakugo, nah, give me Shonen style series about podcasting instead. Professor Fox, pro tips out of context, has run out of things to post. Miss Shauna Rollins, people want to know what it's like being trans living in Utah and why do you promote suicide on Misuka has acquired an arcane mystical World Cup relic of enormous power. It's called the Vuvuzela. Mao wants to thank you all for being awesome. Macaroni Uchiha, Lucky Stars the King of Moe, Link Joe Curl, less than 9 weeks till I give birth, Leonard 98, King Rich Rock, Cassidy, John Akron Cena, Jax, Jam Hands, Jake Dent, Samurai. I, Remington, really want to watch more Sword Art. I'm just here for the vibes. I want a Marvel movie starring Shaun as Spider-Man and Remington as Big Wheel. I upgraded my Patreon membership for Mirai Nikki. I don't think Mr. Chaser should host Pride Month. I can't believe I made an account for this. Huffing Shaun farts through a CPAP.
People are getting creative.
Have you considered arson? Hattori Seiki. Hancock Part 2 is better, changed my mind. Gripin. G Bottom AK Bear Trap. Rem, can you ask Shaun why his favorite game is Anthro Heat?
What?
It's just something he's passionate about. Farmer Weeble deny his dog a treat unless Code Goose is shown, and that's on you, you monster.
Wow, that's the most effective threat you guys have ever thrown our way.
Yeah, that's the scariest one I think I've ever seen.
Because have you seen Farmer Weeble's dog? It's super cute.
Oh my god. Excuse me, that lolly is at least 500 years old, Shaun. Erica McCorkle, Dylan's voice makes me come. Danielle Riot, Daddy Rem, tell me bedtime story about Shaun's nut. Caldarius, Crypt update, we fell off, will change on my return. Code Goose, Patreon Rebellion 6 months early. Chuck Burnett, I regret to inform you guys the patrons might be funnier than you. Sorry. Cheese Monkey, rock hard for you dudes. Bounced on my Red Pill Rollins dick to this week's bad anime for hours. Blarf, Bendo Kato. Anyone else excited for Mitch McConnell dying?
I mean,
Look, it'd be impolite to say yes.
It'd be so impolite to say yes.
And thus I shall remain silent.
Yes.
Anime Slimes, Amazing Muffin, Aisha Guji, a grimoire that makes you last longer by 6.9%. Hey, you change it to a funny number. Politely wonders what Rem's fave Star Wars film is. And now we move on to the Boy Wizard tier. What are they gonna get this week, Shaun?
Oh man, I don't fucking know. Oh god, yeah, because what the fuck else am I supposed to give for this? I'm gonna go to my Crunchyroll and randomly give them an anime from it. How about that?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Because that's essentially what happened to me.
All right, on that list we have Umbrasite,
Demon Slayer,
Truck Unit Operator number 42,
Skeleton Knight in Another World,
Triangle Warlock,
A Livid Lady's Guide to Getting Even,
The Wheel of Cock Keeps Turning,
Free Red,
That Mouse Girl,
Tomb Raider King.
Sporadic Silver.
That's not Laura Croft. How about Code Geass?
Sound Secondary.
Oh man, you get Attack on Titan.
Sammy K is here to remind you of the secret third option.
Keep your hands off Azoken.
Roscoe.
Yu Yu Hakusho.
Rem, what is your opinion on Iron Lung?
My Sister, My Rider.
Power Sales, WWE Question of the Month. What is your favorite commentator, guest, or otherwise? My answer, good old JR, with Booker T as a close second.
Dragon Ball Super.
Miguel DeLeon.
Witch Hat Atelier.
Johnny Guilty Gear Alucard.
Yes, no, or maybe.
Dominai Trigun with Red Pill Even Rem.
Kageki Shoujo.
Carver 271.
How about a podcast favorite, Your Lie in April.
Big Red Kimiko thinks Hyoka will make Remsei with Tashikini Narimasu.
Saikano, How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend.
Beethoven 1201.
Ghost Stories.
I'm Tom.
Sarazanmai.
Allfather 413.
The Sacred Black...
And Akanon. And Akanon.
D. Gray, man.
And now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where, Shaun is going to read a 2-line poem, and I will interpret it as an incantation, and tell you what spell it casts.
Okay.
So pull up some short fucking poems, my guy. And on that list we have, when I think about you, I touch myself and leave disappointed. That's how I know Shaun is cis.
I'm sorry. I can only apologize so much. I mean, this isn't a list at all. This is a short article about 2-line poems. That's not helpful.
They should have examples.
They had one example.
One?
Yeah, and it was a sex life one, which would have been oddly appropriate, but it felt a little...
Well, just go to fucking shortpoems.org.
Yeah, I got some. Okay.
All right, it doesn't need to be exactly 2 lines, just short. All right, what do they get? What's their incantation?
They are going to get... I often wish I were a king and then I could do anything. If only I were king of Spain. That's not... What the fuck is that? That's not a poem.
It's a poem. And that is going to give you a Burger King hat. Ooh.
Oh my god, no. That's the opening of a poem for several other poems.
Jesus Christ.
I hate this. Okay.
I didn't think he was going to struggle with getting short fucking poems.
I didn't think I would either, frankly.
I thought it was a very simple assignment.
I'm going to go to poems on death now, specifically.
Welcome to Anime Out of Context, insert horse penis audio clip.
Fucking hell. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. Carriage held just ourselves and immortality.
Love me some good old Emily.
Yeah.
That stops all death everywhere. Nobody can die, which sounds great until you realize there are some people in absolute agony this moment who are going to die, but now they cannot.
Some of them could stay in that agony for a little bit longer.
Hey, next up we got follow Anime Out of Context on Blue Sky. Show Rem 2 seasons of Code Geass or your email. She looks like her bush hasn't grown in yet. To gmail.com. Ubab.
How wonderful is death, death and his brother sleep. One pale as yonder waning moon with lips of lurid blue, the other rosy as the morn, when throned on ocean's wave, it blushes o'er the world, yet both so passing wonderful.
That makes the Grim Reaper fall in love with you. Last but not least, we got Azulane Akagi's best ship girl.
I know I will love death. Why? Because death too is God's creation, and because death reminds me of the existence of her sister, Infinity's life immortal. Little too theological for my taste, but that's
and
okay.
what that is gonna do is makes waffles.
Convenient.
Yep.
Because waffles are also one of God's creations.
See? It's I thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Yeah, once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Oh, one final bit of housekeeping that I forgot to do last week, but I should definitely do this week. I have a small little side project that I'm doing with Mac from AnimEighties. Mac is going through One Piece for the very first time and really wanted to talk to somebody about it, so he got me, the only person he knows that is obsessed with One Piece. So we now have a lovely little podcast together called Tales from the Grand Line, where once every 2 weeks we go and we talk about an arc in One Piece as he progresses through it. Go give that a listen if you like me or Mac and need a break from Remington.
I think they all need a break from Remington.
So yeah, no, Tales from the Grand Line. Appreciate it if you go and give it a listen. But with that all in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very
Dylan, just
much.
shove that
like with the
plug
normal
earlier.
Yeah, the normal housekeeping.
Ain't no chance that plug is doing shit this late.
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask him to do that anyways.
All right, cool.
Because
all right, close it off.
Obviously, because I only remembered it mid the Patreon reads, like, fuck, I forgot to do it again.
All right, close us off.
Yes. Once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Dylan, just shove that plug right up my asshole.